Restoring Men in History. I found this piece for you guys. I hope it adds some value. I think it can. Marcus Brotherton, Greater Love Hath No Man Than This. Character, Brotherhood, Manly Lessons. Artofmanliness.com is where the piece is found, but he also put it up at Marcus Brotherton, I believe. So Marcus Brotherton's the author. Let's go in. We're going to go into wartime, and there's a good movie to see on this, but let's talk about that in a minute. As a prisoner of the Imperial Japanese Army in the jungles of Thailand during World War II, Ernest Gordon was a commander in the Scottish Infantry Battalion, and he saw the depravity that can happen when man sinks to his lowest. At 24, Gordon was captured while escaping from Sumatra after the fall of Singapore. With other prisoners, he marched into the jungle to build a notorious bridge on the River Kwai. There's this bridge. Starvation, beatings, disease, and dusted-on slave labor were hallmarks of the death camp. The Scottish and British soldiers, normally bastions of composure, good cheer, and self-discipline, what was happening? Were slowly influenced by the death's destructive grip. Morale broke down, along with concerns for one's fellow man. Over time, nothing mattered except to survive, wrote Gordon. We live by the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. Isn't that the way? It was a case of I look out for myself and to hell with everybody else. The weak were trampled underfoot, the sick ignored, resented, the dead forgotten. All restraints of morality were gone. Now, if you want to see a good movie on how these people were treated, watch The Bridge Over River Kwai. David Lean was the director. Good film. Shows you how they were treated. If you want to put this article in perspective with a film behind it that shows it. Then slowly something remarkable began to happen, he says. Selflessness. And you got to ask yourself how you want to go through life and live it. A few officers began to pool their meager resources. They sent food to the sick prisoners holed up in the makeshift dispensary. Compassion. Gordon himself became gravely ill, and guess what happened? Did anybody go see it, check after him? Two fellow soldiers, Dusty and Dinty, volunteered to come by every day and wash his wounds. What about that? Things are changing, right? Several men, Gordon wrote, in the midst of widespread degradation and despair, kept their integrity inviolate and their faith whole. That's hard to do, right? Difficult. The supreme example of a different way of living came to a climax one horrific evening after a long day. This is a good story. They've been working all day. They've survived, but it's been hard labor, and here's what happens. That night, when the tools were counting, a Japanese guard announced that one shovel was missing. One shovel. What do you think they're going to do? One of the prisoners had stolen the shovel to sell on the black market, it was assumed. The crime was heinous. The guard railed. The perpetrator had maligned the emperor himself, an act punishable by death. Yeah, they had a huge respect for the emperor and reverence for him and worshiped him. The guard lined up the men in the work party and demanded that whomever took the shovel confess. No one did. The guard ranted, he screamed, denouncing the men for their wickedness. Then he reached a new level. What do you think he was going to do here? I'll die, the guard shrieked. He pointed his rifle at the crowd and set his finger on the trigger. The prisoners knew he was serious. Calmly, quietly, from the back of the work party, one solitary man stepped forward. I did it, the man said. Guard unleashed his fury on the man in front of the rest of the prisoners, a contingent of armed guards standing by. He beat the man bloody with the butt of his rifle, crushing the man's skull. When the tools were counted again, it was found that all the shovels were there. The guard had miscounted. One man died in the dust and dirt of the death camp by the River Kwai. Why did he die? One man died so that others could live. It was dawning on us all, Gordon wrote, that the law of the jungle is not the law for man, right? Men are not animals, right? We were seeing for ourselves a sharp contrast between the forces that made for life and those that made for death. Selfishness, hatred, envy, jealousy, greed, self-indulgence, laziness, and pride were anti-life, he says. Love, heroism, self-sacrifice, sympathy, mercy, integrity, and creative faith, on the other hand, were the essence of life. Well, we talk about love and heroism, right? Turning mere existence into living in its truest sense. How do you want to live? How do you want to be remembered? These were the gifts of God to men, he ends with. And I want to just say this. You want to be there for guys, right? You want to add value to other people. These men were adding value to others. They made them feel less lonely, I think, less isolated, and that you had somebody there in an awful situation that was horrific So you can do that today for other people, right? If you want to live this way. You can help your friends. You can build them up. You can help edify them in new ways that they haven't thought of. You can recommend books, but you can be there for them when their father dies or someone dies they love. You can just be there for them when they're sick, right? Stop by, say hello, send a text, call them on the phone, right? You can do what these men did for each other today, and you can have close, good friendships. Thank you.